Today we're going to be talking about clinical depression. So what is depression really? Well, for starters, having depression doesn't mean you're sad and just having a bad day or even a bad week. Depression is an actual mental illness that causes people to have a constant feeling of sadness, loss of interest in normal daily things like relationships, friends, family, even activities you used to enjoy doing. Working, sleeping, staying focused, and even just enjoying life becomes really hard to do. So how does this completely disrupt someone's life? Well, with daily tasks being hard to do, it's no wonder people with depression have a hard time keeping a normal lifestyle. You always feel run down, you either can't sleep or sleep way too much. Nothing interests you, you feel restless or slowed down, thoughts of death and suicide are common, and you have a 5% body weight gain or loss in just a month. This illness makes you a completely different person to the point where you might not even recognize yourself. If these symptoms last for 2 or more weeks, it's recommended to seek medical attention. If those apply to you and you're wondering, what can I do? Well, here's what you can do. The first step is always to talk to your doctor about how you're feeling and that you're concerned. There are many antidepressants that he or she may recommend. One of the most common is dopamine. The medication helps increase the levels of dopamine in the brain, preventing reabsorption back into the cells, which brings up the patient's mood. It is one of the most common because it doesn't have any sexual side effects. However, at a high dosage, it may increase your risk of having a seizure. Other side effects may include agitation, nausea, anorexia, headaches, insomnia, high blood pressure, anxiety, weight loss, muscle pain, sore throat, or frequent urination. Your doctor may also recommend you attending therapy. Who can be affected by depression? Well, according to the National Institution of Mental Health, 6.7% of the U.S. over the age of 18 has been diagnosed with clinical depression, while 20 to 25% of people will experience a minor episode of depression at least once in their life. Women are twice as likely to get depression due to the following risk factors: puberty, menstruation, pregnancy or miscarriage, and menopause. Men are also significantly underreported and are less likely to seek help or even to talk about it. While researching the subject, I found an article from 1998 that gave a theory to the cause of depression by German researchers. They suggested that the illness showed evidence of the Borna virus. For those of you who don't know what the Borna virus is, let me explain. The virus was first identified in the late 1800s in horses near a town called Borna, Germany. These horses stopped eating, walked in circles, got sick, and some even killed themselves. The virus attacks the region of the brain that controls your emotions. The German researchers believe to have found similar strands in people with depression. Could depression be caused by a virus? No one is certain, but the opinion is yours. How is depression used in movies? Of all the movies I've seen that talk about depression, none of them really come close to truly capturing what the illness actually is. I did, however, find a movie that came really close and did an amazing job. Helen in the movie Helen was a fun, loving teacher, wife, and mother when she was diagnosed with depression. She tries so hard to fight back, which is different from the other movies where it shows the people just giving up. The movie shows the true struggle of people trying to deal with their depression and how it affects the lives of the people that are involved with that person. Do you ever feel like maybe you're in this all by yourself? Well, you're not. Even people living in the spotlight have or have had this illness too. Buzz Aldrin got depression after he went to the moon back in 1996. Princess Diana was diagnosed with depression periodically throughout her life. A country singer named Sheryl Crow, who came down with depression after one of her tours, took antidepressants and went to therapy to handle her depression. So, before I dived into all this research, I asked a few people their opinions on the subject, and here's what I got. 80% of people believed that it was an actual mental illness, while 20% said they were just sad and going through a hard time. 90% of people said it was a problem in our country, while 10% didn't think it was. I also asked what age group they thought was most affected by depression. 10% said elderly people, 30% said adults, 60% said teens and preteens. 70% of people told me they or someone they knew had suffered from depression, while 30% told me they didn't know anyone. But there was one thing that everyone agreed on. If someone has depression, 100% of people believed that the depression affects the people around them as well. So because I can't take all the credit for this information, and now you know all about clinical depression.